Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, Dwyrin here. With Total War Rome 2 having officially launched itself a DLC beyond that which came out at launch, I figure it's time to finally answer the question that many of us have been wondering. Would I like Total War Rome 2? Why the wait? Well, you see, like it or not, this has sort of been a year where many game developers have come out and more or less just openly admitted that they've had some kind of drinking problem. And we, the consumer, have sort of had to wait for them to pick themselves up, get the lives of their games back in order before making a decision regarding the products they've been releasing this year. I mean, we saw it with SimCity 2013 at the start of the year, and sadly we kind of saw this trend continuing to Total War Rome 2. Not to as an extreme level, mind you, but we did see some of the same reoccurrences, most unfortunately. So, I've been waiting for the little tells. The little signs that tell us that this game is finally ready to be judged on its own merits. And I figure that releasing a DLC, releasing more content for the game that you are required to pay for, has got to be a big-ass tell from the developers that this game is ready to stand on its own 2 feet and to tell us, finally, what we think of the game. Which we're going to do now.
Yeah, that used to be the case, and certainly not the game's proudest of moments, but thankfully for many of us, it's not the case anymore. The turns at the beginning of the game now, as you can see, go by blazingly fast, allowing you to get back into the game with as little downtime, I guess, as humanly possible. Granted, as the game progresses, that can change. If you are showing all AI movements on your map, then it does drag out a little bit longer, which we'll see later, but it's no longer unbearably so. Real improvement has been made on this front, so you can really get down to controlling your empire. Which begs the question, what sort of things can you do with your empire? Now that the devs have worked on giving you more time, what can you do with that time? That can be a hard question to answer. One of the reasons to replay this game is that you can play different empires in the game in different ways. For example, every empire has to make money and use that money to find a way to defend itself. The Romans, as you can see here, might do so by focusing on its powerful and disciplined infantry units, delving into a little bit of cav as their unit specializations. This is great for those massive battles where you just want a ton of people clashing together with swords and bloods flying, not really being a scalpel on the battlefield so much as a frickin' broadsword. Just bashing the bejesus out of your enemy. But the factions do play differently from each other. With Rome, yeah, maybe you do have all the infantry and you're going with that kind of army. Yeah, cool, fun. But let's say you are someone completely different, like the Egyptians, and you decide to enjoy those gigantic elephants they bring to the table. These great, huge, lumbering beasts that completely demoralize and stomp your enemy into the ground, breaking the enemy line so the desert can just sweep in behind and consume anyone who dares to stand before the might of Egypt. Which, I have to say, is a hell of a lot of fun. One of my favorite factions in this game are the Egyptians. I freaking love them. In my opinion, the elephants are a little OP and probably need to be turned down just a little bit. But hey, they're a double-edged sword in that they can turn on me if they're overwhelmed, frightened, and start going on a rampaging spree, easily killing my own units just as easily as my opponents, and just wreaking utter devastation to everything around them, until either they calm down or I order their riders to kill the animals that I was so enjoying moments ago. I mean, you have those kinds of differences with each of the factions. I mean, one more example would be if you pick another Eastern Empire, Parthia, whose unit specializations lean more towards killing things from very, very, very far away with either their horse or their Persian archers. I haven't really played them yet in detail. They sound like a lot of fun given that they specialize in ranged units, and I've been playing mostly, Rome and Egypt up until this point. So that would be a very, very different change for me, and I'm really looking forward to getting into that empire and having fun with it. Because that's what you look for in any game, right? That replayability. There's things that I have not yet experienced in this game, despite however long I might have played through with Rome, however long I might have played through with Egypt. There's still something out there that I can try differently, and another reason to play this game again. Now, I'm sure it goes without saying that in order to get those units, you do need to pick an empire. And that empire needs an economy capable of supporting the units you want to create. Saying to yourself, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make a whole bunch of elephants, and I'm going to make a whole bunch, or, a whole bunch of Praetorian guards, or, whatever is all fine and good, but these units can be expensive, right? So, you need an economy capable of supporting the army that you're trying to establish. And here's where things get a little murky and make the review a little bit more difficult. You see, the game is divided into provinces, as you can see here, and each province's taxes, level of order, general infrastructure is all banded together in each different province. Let's make that a little bit easier to see. You can see that right now we are here in the province of Libya. That province is at a 0 food supply right now. However, it is positive for both order and income. So somewhere else in my empire, I would need to have a province that is positive for food, probably at the cost of maybe some order or some income. So everything is nicely balanced out that way. Now you might wonder, well, why can't every province just have everything? Well, in part because of the food, but also because of that public order that I mentioned earlier. Many buildings, as they grow, take a serious hit to public order and or food. I guess the idea there is being that, the larger city becomes, the harder it is to keep everyone online. I guess that makes sense. It also creates a deterrent for growing your city past a certain point. You could raise all buildings to the higher levels, but that would require higher level farms and order buildings, and the farms require more order, and the order buildings require more farms, so you can see it goes round and round. As a result right now, once you go past a certain stage of buildings, the extra order and food you get from upgrading those buildings kind of just shrinks a bit. Just here in this city, you can see that a higher level farm would give me 18 food at the cost of 10 order, whereas the higher level order costs 10 food at the cost of 12 order. So with both of these buildings down in the same province, I'm getting an extra 8 food and 2 order compared to the buildings where they are now, where I'm getting an extra 6 food and 4 order staying at a level 3. So it's really a bit of a decision there if you really want to upgrade past level 3 or not. Now, some people hate those extreme penalties. They want to build up their provinces higher, easier, and more often, and I totally get that. I admit playing the game I felt largely the same way, but at the same time I can see where the developers are coming from. Clearly they want only a few provinces to truly be beefed up. The centers of your empire, so to speak, because they are so costly that all buildings being fully upgraded won't be truly a common sight. That seems realistic, and does make me want to grow my empire, if nothing else than the status symbol of having multiple cities gloriously built as high as they can. On the other hand, it would be kinda nice to feel like there's some more I could do with my provinces, aside from get it to level 3, tech, and forget about them. In fact, there are some mods out there that drastically change food and the order hit you get from buildings for that very reason, to make them easier to get, to make them more common, to feel that you can do more with your provinces. It's really hard to take a point off for that reason, whichever way you're leaning. I mean, if you like the fact that they're going to be rare, it's there. If you don't, they made the game easily modded, so you can just change that, and people already have, so either way you can play as you want. So yeah, hard to really take a point off the game and say, you shouldn't be able to play this way and it's a shame they did, and rawr, downvote, and suffice it to say, you can play as you want to play. Now, what is pretty easy to take a point off for is the blobbing. One huge aspect of this game is that it sets it apart from games like Civilization because you can manually control your armies in battle, and that's such an amazing feature. It's what I think landed Total War as a household name, really, in terms of gaming. Everyone's heard of the Total War series. Everyone knows what it is, and this is partly the reason why. Because you can take control of those armies and not just build up your civilization, but then take the hard-worked units from your civilization and put them against someone, control that battle, use all the strategy that enters your brain and try to just screw up the other player. But when many units come together in a mosh pit of what the fuckery, it is hard to hold on to that immersion. And so far, even mods are struggling to fix this problem. Now, they have made some progress. I am slowly but surely seeing, and this could be a giant coincidence, I am starting to see semblances of something try to hold together on the battlefield. But right now, it is way, way far from being fixed. Now, the devs are saying that they're totally on the case. The next patch, we're totally fixing this, or, making steps towards fixing this. So I harbor a glimmer of hope that these things will be fixed eventually and, constantly improved upon. I'll definitely be taking a look at the next patch as soon as it comes out, maybe doing a review for that as well, to see just how far along they've come in this, and if this problem is actually going away. Now, that's not to say that the battles aren't fun. I'd be lying if I said that they weren't. This game came out a few months ago, and I'm still having a blast with all the battles. A lot of people aren't and refusing to touch the game because of its lack of battle realism, but to me, I'm still vastly entertained. Watching flaming rocks smash my foes to pieces, or elephants stomping on the faces of whatever's in front of them, or behind them, in some cases. It's never gotten old for me. At least not yet, anyway. But maybe that's because I'm not a Total War vet. Maybe it's because maybe I'm only getting a kick out of these things because I'm still learning to handle the battles better. And those of you who already have learned to handle the battles better from all the previous games and all of the hundreds of hours that you've put into them, you come to this and, you don't have that learning curve like I do. So maybe they're not fun for you, and I totally get that. I completely understand. But for me right now, it is because I'm still in that whole learning phase of trying to get used to this game and its mechanics. So even with the blobbing, for me, I'm still finding ways to enjoy myself. Which, I guess, brings us to the AI. Truthfully, I have no idea what to think about the AI. I have no idea at all. Let's see. When a capture point is present on the battlefield, I think it's pretty much hands down that the AI is just utterly brain dead and a disappointment on every level. Again, something that they're promising to fix with the next patch. They're working on it. We'll see if that's true or not. I'm definitely going to be testing the frack out of that as soon as that thing goes live. But yeah, essentially what they do is they will sit on a capture point happily and be shelled by ballista. Don't take anything else to a battlefield where there's a capture point, because they're just going to sit there in the circle and die. That's all they're going to do, and it's disappointing. It's really, really disappointing. I mean, even when they know that artillery is on the field, they'll even go to a circle and just sit there and die. They're not going to be like, well, I guess we have to kill these people. No, they just get killed, and it's a bummer. But like I said, they're trying to work on it. We'll see if that's true or not. Admittedly, it's funny as hell. When I first saw them, just like completely just getting into as tight a formation as possible on this stupid little circle, while I was hitting them with flaming rocks of death. I had to admit, I laughed. That was funny. And if this was supposed to be a game that was humorous, way to go, devs. You scored it. Congratulations. But when you take the capture points out of the equation, then my favorite battles are on open fields, where the AI will come at me and try to kill me, where they're going to try and take high ground and have an advantage, things like that, where the AI can actually try and make decisions. That's cool. You just have to unchain them from this stupid circle of doom. I was hoping that, months afterwards we wouldn't still be talking about this, but we are. So again, it's all the next patch. Will they be able to finally start making progress with this, or is everything just not ever going to change? I don't know. I feel like it all comes down to next patch. I feel like that patch is going to tell us everything. So you guys should definitely stay tuned to see what happens here one way or the other. Now, diplomacy is another one of those things that people either, love or hate. A lot of people are disappointed, some people not so much. And I agree that it could be a lot better. That if you could form stronger alliances by marrying factions like you could in Shogun 2, that would be just awesome. And the fact that you can't do it is a little bit disappointing. But that said, I have to give it up to them. What the game does do, it does do fairly well. By clicking on a faction, I can see what the faction likes and dislikes, so I can plan out my interactions with that faction really easily, nicely color-coded. You cannot be confused at what this faction does not like. Hover your mouse over them, you can see the list of things they approve and disapprove of. I mean, I really love that. I mean, if I'm afraid of the Seleucids, for example, and their alliances, I can easily see how I'm going to piss them off and have them declare war on me. Subsequently, if I spy a rich state, again, maybe the Seleucids are extremely rich and I want to trade with them so I can get those lucrative trade contracts. Well, I can see what they like and they dislike, and I can say to myself, well, they hate these people, so I'm going to go to war with them. That way the Seleucids like me better and maybe want to trade with me. So there aren't as many robust features in previous games that we might want, but the things that it does do in this game, it does very, very well. I had never felt confused at what was going to happen with my interactions with the AI. I always knew that, if I trade with these people, if I get an alliance with these other people are going to be really, really mad, and I'm going to have a war on my hands on this front or on that front. So I was able to really plan out my progress throughout the game based on how easy it is to navigate the diplomacy screen. So, again, we would all love a few more options in the game in regards to diplomacy, but the options that are there are streamlined and done very, very well. And that right there, I think, is a big plus. Unfortunately, one thing that perhaps wasn't quite so streamlined or clarified as well as it should have been is your own faction screen. Go figure. Diplomacy screen. You can see exactly what's going on with everyone else, but within your own empire, it gets a little weird. Your house's standings are kind of important, and using generals within your house gives you more influence within your empire, and this is kind of important. Not so much early on in the game, but the trend becomes more noticeable later on in the game during your inevitable civil war. And I've made the mistake of just using whatever general or admiral had started off with the highest stats, and I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to what house they were from. So this kind of came back to bite me as everyone but my family just got higher and higher in terms of influence, and I kind of didn't because my people were stupid. I guess I was playing as the stupid family. And it doesn't really explain that very well. Like, yeah, if your house falls out of influence, this will come back and kind of affect you later on. I don't know, it just felt like there was something lacking there when I was looking at that screen. That you needed more information, or it should have been presented in a different way, or something, because most people completely ignore that screen completely when they're playing, and those that do kind of give it a cursory glance, and that's it. You mean you kind of have to really do your research or play through the game first to really understand what you're seeing on that screen and how it's going to affect you later on, and that I feel is a little bit of that's a bit of a minus right there. Which brings us to our final question. Would I like Total War Rome 2? Well, again, for those veterans amongst you who have, you've played your Shogun 1, you played your Shogun 2, you've gone through the Empire series, maybe you've played the first Rome, you've hit up your Napoleons, etc., 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 then there are some aspects of this game which you probably aren't going to enjoy quite so much if you're just like playing that for the hardcore battle realism
of really getting in there and controlling your armies and having the AI be nice and responsive. But really, the AI probably isn't going to hold you back anyway, because if you're that kind of hardcore player, chances are you're actually playing this game online by this point, and you're playing battles against other people and not really the AI so much. I mean, you can probably still enjoy the campaign, but most of your enjoyment is probably coming from, again, online battles in PvP. So, in that respect, it's only the blobbing, I guess, that's really going to hold you back. Hard to say, but for the normal everyday person who maybe I don't know, dabbled in some previous Total Wars, didn't really get into them very much, you're thinking about getting into this game, is this game going to be something that you're going to enjoy? I think so. I think so. Veterans might want to be careful, know that there are still some issues living with the game. There are more and more mods coming out to improve it. So maybe that in of itself might be a reason to pick it up. For everyone else, again, there's the mods. I'm enjoying the campaign. The battles could be better in terms of some of the blobbing that we're seeing, but again, that's going to be addressed. So for you, I think you're going to really like this game. So right now, my final vote, I would give this game a solid 8 out of 10, which would rise up to probably a nice 10 out of 10 if they fix the blobbing and make the AI a little bit more intelligent in regards to how much they love to just hump that capture point. If they do that, we have a solid 10 out of 10 game here. Right now, at the time of this recording, this thing is on sale on Steam. I completely recommend picking it up for yourself. If you've been on the fence and thinking about it, I don't think you're going to go wrong. If you choose to wait, again, check back in, see what the content patches are like. For the update. If it gets better, that might sway you over as well. But on the whole, I don't think you're going to regret picking up this game if you decide to do so. So, those are my thoughts on the game. I hope you enjoy them. Hope you check back for more in regards to Total War content. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be going over the next patch as soon as it's out. And I also do other reviews on my channel. If you're interested in that, you can check out all that good stuff. And I will see all of you awesome people later.